Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be looking at more Sleep Token, unsurprisingly. Continuing through Sundowning. This is song number 4, Dark Signs, on the album. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. I think this one is one of the more popular songs on the album. So I know it's one that I have enjoyed since I first heard it. We'll go right into it. So um, we've got this very deep kind of bass sound, like the artificial bass sound, right? I guess sense is what you might call it. Um, it's really cool to hear in like a big system with it turned up. I know whenever I get new speakers or something, this has kind of become a song I just play just to see what it sounds like. Since I don't listen to that much, I guess hip hop for that deep bass sound that you can get out of it. Um, what's interesting is we've got this chord progression going on here, and we've also got Vessel doing his kind of classic, uh, just throwing his voice around for the melody, that like falsetto thing. He's done it on quite a few tracks. It's just kind of a staple of their sound at this point. Sometimes where that normally, I guess, other artists might have used like a guitar or a synth or something, he's just opted to throw his voice in there, which I think is cool.
Where I was raised, there wasn't no street lights, just pitch black and passing headlights. Where we met, there must have been dark signs, omens in your skies. Most days you reach for safety, remain calm, forget that you know me. When we met, I could see dark signs, alarm bells in your eyes.
So what I really like about this section here is it's very stripped down. You've got very sparse percussion over this, just droning bass line that's going on. That combined with Betzel doing like a really kind of a huskier thing with his voice here. And I say that because it does sound like he's got just a little bit more rasp than he normally would. Maybe it's just the register he's in, or it's a more performative thing that he's doing. But it really does give you this dark, isolated feel. There's not much going on. It's just kind of him sitting with this really low register of the rest of what's going on, right? It's just kind of bass hits and the bass drum kind of comes in at some point. That low frequency stuff kind of, to me, indicates kind of like darkness sonically, right? The way that you might write a song that's dark or heavy. Usually there's a reason that bands like to tune down for that kind of thing. Modern metal bands, I should say. It does just give us, the listener, kind of this dark atmosphere.
In your eyes, and I miss the man I was, the moment we left.
See, even adding this stuff kind of lifts the mood a little bit.
And I hate who I have become. Every time I wake up, and if you saw the marks on my dashboard, the new scars that I didn't ask for,
if you're wondering why I'm laughing kind of at this part, it's kind of interesting to see where they came from. If you think about Take Me Back to Eden, how often they're now using on that album this kind of trap beats, um, more, I guess, hip hop pop feel. Because this song, just as a whole so far, has really felt like more of a pop song, right? I feel like your, top 40 audiences could get on board with this. It may be a little slow for them in terms of like build up. It takes its time, as all Sleep Token songs tend to do. But the soundscape is very familiar. We've got the heavily processed, kind of up pitched vocal stuff going on in the background, which is pretty common for backgrounds of certain pop songs, more especially in like electronic music. I feel like, um, and then trap beats are it sounds like a trap beat. It should be familiar as well. That with his like husky voice kind of sells this as more of a pop song so far. But it's definitely kind of gained some steam here in this verse. The intro vocal stuff is going on in the background if you hear it. His falsettos up there. I'm sorry to pause it so much, but I really love this like synth thing that's going on in the background, the like glassy kind of synth sound. Super interesting what they're doing melodically there, because it's constantly causing tension because it's just going up and up and up. If you listen to it, like the final note of each kind of like cluster of notes, it's ascending, which is getting us like closer to what feels like a drop if you are kind of using the vocabulary of kind of EDM music or something like that. I'll back up a little bit and kind of point it out. You hear that? The syncopation also is giving you a little bit of anticipation. Oh, we can hear it real good here. And there's the drop, I guess. I like that. Toot. Back to trap beats. Same synth motif. We get a more like soulful, like riffing kind of thing that Vessel is doing on the vocals as we fade out. In this like retrospective here of their discography, I didn't realize like how often they just kind of faded out. I guess I've never really thought about that. Super interesting. Anyway, this song as a whole here, it reminds me a lot of Granite in its structure and in its musical, I guess, where it lands on the musical spectrum, right? Granted, kind of starts as what I would consider kind of a pop song as well. Um, and it then evolves into being this really heavy drop later on. So I kind of equate these two songs, Dark Signs, as being the progenitor for Granite later, kind of paving the way for it, if you will. Because this is, I think, a very accessible song. Like if you were to tell somebody, hey, maybe go check out Sleep Token, this is something that might get them into Vessel's voice, into the message. It's still got the guitars in it. It's still got like the song structure that's very Sleep Token, that builds and then the song's over, right? I mean, it's the formula that they've gone for often. Not every song does it, but it's definitely something that you kind of notice in their formula. Anyway, this song lyrically is kind of interesting. Like I said, the soundscape kind of sets us up for this really dark feeling, and the lyrics reflect that as well, where Vessel talks about being raised where there's no street lights, pitch black, passing headlights. And where we met, there must have been dark signs, omens in your skies. Which goes ahead and kind of sets up this like relationship he has with sleep, is my kind of interpretation of where we're going. It's like there's obviously parallels to Take Me Back to Eden, listen to that album. I feel like the omens in the skies thing might be referenced again when we talk about the diamonds in the trees, pentagrams in the night sky. That happens in Ascensionism, lyrically. But I'm more interested to see kind of the push and pull of what's going on lyrically here. We also have the most days you reach for safety, remain calm, forget that you know me, and when we met, I could see dark signs, alarm bells in your eyes. I feel like this part up here, these two lines always kind of threw me for a loop, I guess, the first time I listened. But I think maybe we're getting at the idea that sleep is being conjured, like in this ritual, right? Like I've talked about in the previous songs, by Vessel. And she's kind of in the safety of death, the heavens, whatever you want to talk about it, but is kind of being brought back by Vessel. And I guess that's kind of where the alarm bells come in, right? She's kind of brought back to life, if you put it that way. And then we get the very straightforward chorus. I missed the man I was the moment we left off, and I hate who I've become every time I wake up. Now this, I think, obviously takes the idea that Vessel wants to go back to how things were, right? The Take Me Back to Eden idea showing up earlier in the discography, right? And it sets up the idea that a lot of what's going on might be happening at night, maybe quite literally while he's sleeping, because there is the waking up part here, right? And there is this constant mantra going on in the background during the chorus, and you hear it when things drop out sometimes, this I might break and bend to my basic need to be loved and close to somebody, which I think is immediately understandable to most people, because I think most people want to have a loved one or be loved by someone and be close to somebody. It's interesting that he's framing this as he might break and bend to that need. Like it's not something he wants to bend to, which I think kind of lends credence to the idea that he's tearing sleep from her peaceful rest to be with him, selfishly to be with him, bring her back to life in some way so that he can continue to be with her even though, she's gone. He's kind of forcing her back into existence. That's kind of my idea of what's going on here. If you saw the marks on my dashboard, the new scars that I didn't ask for, would you call asking for answers? Tear my arms off. We get another conspicuous car reference, which after hearing Granite and Take Me Back to Eden, I think this is further maybe evidence that a car crash was the thing that took his his lover's life. If that's how we're interpreting this, because we have the marks on my dashboard, the new scars I didn't ask for. I think some people would say this is self-harm, and they might be right. Like, that's the idea for it. But I mean, if you're in a car crash, you might be scarred up as well. And you certainly didn't ask for that, because that's an accident, right? So maybe that's what's going on there. Would you call asking for answers tear my arms off? This is what makes me not 100% sure in my interpretation that this line, the scars I didn't ask for, is about the car crash, because I think what we're supposed to get out of this line is that Sleep would be very distraught to know that he's harming himself, and would literally tear his arms off to keep him from doing it. Kind of in this like panic or this anger that he's hurting himself or something like that. Then we get a repetition of the second half. I don't think there's any new lyrics to go over, but there is this constant, I do think this constant kind of mantra that's going on in the background is very indicative of the mind state that Vessel is in for this song, right? He knows that he's creating this relationship that is not healthy. I think it's not healthy for him, and for Sleep, right? It's kind of just bringing her back into the world in a way through this ritual. When he should just let go of her, right? That's kind of my feeling for what's going on here. But I think I've hit just about everything I want to for this, because I really wanted to point out the similarities with Granite, and even some of the car imagery, because we've got like passing headlights, marks on the dashboard, stuff like that. Little nuggets that, after hearing Take Me Back, it really do kind of make me think that there was a car crash somewhere in their history, and it could have been what ended his lover's life, right? That caused this cycle of these rituals, all of this sinking and depression and hurt and grief. And like I said, this song really just sells it with the way that it produces everything, the music production and stuff like that. But let me know what you think. Do you think I missed the mark on what this song is trying to portray? I mean, I think it's very clearly about, kind of a toxic relationship that's going on. But the specifics of it are always up for debate with Sick Token, because everything is very, very shrouded in metaphor. And it's a little bit messy in terms of that kind of thing, to try to pin down one meaning when there might not even be just one meaning. Maybe it's supposed to be like a multifaceted thing, which is probably accurately the case, right? But let me know, is Dark Signs one that you immediately kind of like fell in love with? Because this song immediately pulled me in the first time I heard it, and I still love it to this day. It's definitely one of my most played off of Sundowning. So let me know what you think, and I will see you in the next video.